Hi everybody, you are watching tutorials. My name is Alex and today we are gonna create this landing page design. So we are gonna create the first page into the Adobe Illustrator, and then, well, you can help me to choose whether I should to create the rest of my landing page into the Graphic Designer or I need to continue into some of the Adobe apps, for example in Adobe XD. So let's get started with the Ctrl and Command N on your Mac, and I'm gonna size this document with the 1470 width and 1025 and 1025 pixels height. Click Create, and first grab the rectangle tool and cover your entire artboard with a rectangle. Swap fill and stroke and delete the stroke and create a new layer. And for this rectangle we should head over the gradient panel and apply gradient. For the first column we should double click on the gradient stop to bring up the color picker, and then navigate to RGB. And in this hexadecimal field, we should type 2A3592. Click OK. And double click on the black. Again, go to RGB, hexadecimal field, C8, 4F, 9D. Apply changes, click OK. Default direction is OK for us. Let's lock the layer, clicking at the free space between chevron icon and airball. Now let's create a grid. Let's go to rectangular grid tool. So hold left mouse button key on the line segment tool to bring up the menu, and then grab the rectangular grid tool. With the rectangular grid tool, cover the entire artboard, but do not release the left mouse button key. Increase the number of your columns to 9. 1, 2, 3. So click 3 times right arrow key on your keyboard to increase the number of columns to 9. Then head on to the stroke panel and increase the stroke weight to around 8 points. Now Control Shift Q, Command Shift Q, sorry guys, it's a custom shortcut. So you need to go to the Object Path and Outline Stroke. You need to outline the stroke. And then swap fill and stroke, Shift X on your Mac or PC. So align the stroke so we have both rows and columns, and their intersections create us nice modules, and we're gonna walk around these modules, aligning and sizing all the rest elements of our landing page. And we're gonna start, of course, with the menu. So create another layer on the layer panel, lock your grid, and bring up the guides. So Ctrl R, Command R to grab the guides, and place the first guide in the middle of the top row, like so. It's gonna be our guide for the menu. So I also want to grab the vertical guides and place them here in the end of the first column and at the beginning of the last column, so they restrict the area of our content. And first let's grab the type tool and start typing crypto. It's just a basic, very generic logo. It's like a placeholder for logo. I'm not sure whether I'm gonna design an actual one. Next step is to select the typeface, and the typeface should be source code variable, set the font weight to bold, and the font size to 40 points. It also has this luminosity as a blending mode, so let's go to luminosity and this color. Let me copy this color from here. Okay, this color is 6B C7 DD, and blending mode is luminosity, and we're gonna use this luminosity blending mode across all of our objects. So 6B C7 DD, and then click to the luminosity as our blending mode. So far so good. Let's go and create menu items, and I'm gonna start again with the type tool. Type the about, but this time of course we need to use we need to change the font size, and for size should be 24 pixels, and the font weight should be medium. So about, again, I'm gonna grab I need to go to the Windows graphic styles and bring up the graphic styles here. I'm gonna create a new graphic style. For some of the reason it's gives me an additive graphic style. Okay, let's try it now. So hold Alt or Option key and nothing happens. Okay, I believe that because we have already created another object. So allows me to copy this color again, and then I'm gonna navigate to transparency panel and change the blending mode to luminosity. And then let's create a graphic style. Okay. Duplicate your menu item. This time we need to type services, and here I want to speed up my Okay, I have 3 menu items. I'm gonna duplicate another item, and then I'm gonna create this button. So in order to do this, I'm gonna grab the rectangle tool, click M, and fill all the module from one margin to another margin, and then I'm gonna give it other color C E FF0E. Click OK, and next let's grab the direct selection tool and drag on this bullet to round the corner, or you can provide the actual value here. So let's go to the transform panel and set the value to 24 points. Then use your control. Now with the control left bracket key or command left bracket key, let's nudge it down in our layer stack so you can see the actual pricing. Then select the pricing and change the text to sign in. Keep it selected and Ctrl Shift O, Command Shift O to create outlines. So you can actually go to the type and create outlines here. Ctrl Shift O, Command Shift O. Select both objects. And align them to the middle, but make sure that you align to the key object. And in our case, the key object is a button, so select it before aligning and hit the align buttons, both vertical and horizontal. So far so good. Let's nudge this button a bit down and place the text to the white, align it with the white. So let's create a title and this button. So in order to do this, let's grab the type tool, create a new layer, create it here, title, and start typing, okay, lead your cryptocurrency game. And again, we need to set our font size to 56 points and set the typeface to source code variable. Place it here, align with this third flow line here, the text, and let's beef it a bit. So, but before, I'm gonna of course grab the color picker and place it to white. Let's go to the character panel. If you can find it, go to the Windows character, and here we need to increase the line spacing. Set it between 86 and 96 points and click OK. So I've adjusted the line spacing, and we need to grab the rectangle tool again, and for this time I'm gonna start with the first module, and then I'll size up my button to around 2 modules and a half. Then grab the selection tool, place it on the bottom, and increase the size to around half of the module here, half of the row. Navigate to the corner, and dragging this bullet, increase the corner radius to around 40 pixels, like so. Again, we need to grab the airdrop tool, and I'm gonna grab and select this color. And next, align the button to the middle of this row. Great. Let's select this guide and delete it. And grab the text tool again. And here we need to type join holding shift key. So we need to capitalize all the letters. Align to the key object again, so go to the align to the key object and select this button as a key object. You see it's highlighted with a bolder outline here. It means that it's key object. Then go and align it vertically and horizontally, like so. But I also want to nudge this text down, so it's more like visual center, not the actual physical center, but more perceived center. So for this join, we need to Ctrl Shift or Command Shift or to create outlines, and then select both button and the text. Ctrl 8, Command 8 to create compound path. You can also go to the object, compound path, make. So, and this the same here. So we have this outlines, we have this button, and Ctrl 8, Command 8 to create our compound path. So the main artwork, our point of attention here is these two dice. And in order to do this, first of all, we need to download a free collection of the cryptocurrency icons. I provide a link in the description, so you can go and download them for free to follow along this tutorial. And we need to add them to the symbols panel. In order to do this, we need to go to the Windows, Symbols, bring up the Symbols panel, and then place all of these icons one by one to the Symbols panel, click OK. So I have prepared the symbols in advance, so they stored in my symbols library. And if you want to learn more about symbols, download my free symbols course on tutorials.net. So let me pick up all of them and through into my main interface. So let's start with a rectangle again. To create a dice, we need to grab a rectangle tool and click once on the artboard. Set the width to 240 pixels and height to 240 pixels as well. Click OK. And okay, let's work with this color. It doesn't matter what the color actually is, but avoid the black color. Go to the Effect, 3D and Extrude and Bevel. In Open dialog box, we need to set the extrude depth to 240 points. Check preview, and then we need to rotate it. I'm gonna position it here. So if you continue the side of this cube, it should point to the hour button. Then go to and change the select from this drop down, from the surface drop down, select the diffuse shading. Then click at the button map symbol. Head over to the symbols drop down on the top and let's select the Monero. What's going on here? First of all, so Monero is here. First, let's scale it to fit. Okay, we have pretty ugly illustration now, so we need to make it smaller and place in the middle. Let us select the invisible geometry for a second, so to really see how it positioned into the three-dimensional space. And then let's head on to other surface. So click on this arrow button on the top right. Skip all the invisible sides. So we don't need to bother ourselves with these sides. So select the surface number 4. I'm gonna set it to dash. Okay? But I should admit that these two icons, Monero and dash, do not go together. This dash icon is very dynamic. There is a lot of movement here. And Monero icon is very static. It's circle. So I think I need to change the dash icon. I'm gonna grab this ripple icon. I think it's more suitable here. And I'm gonna place it a bit, push it a bit to the top left. You see? So it's kind of perceived center of this fringe. And last but not least, let's select the symbol for the bottom left side. I'm gonna grab the stratis. Okay, stratis. I'm gonna align it like so. Looks very good, and I think we shouldn't do any harm to this surface as well. So click OK and click OK here. So we mapped all the symbols, and I believe now that we can decrease the size of our okay, let's go and create another one. Create a duplicate of this dice. Head over to the appearance panel, choose this 3D extrude and bevel. Let's go to map art again, and we need to, but before check preview of course, and rotate this dice in space. And go to map art again. And then assign other symbols to the side, and here I want to speed up a bit our tutorial. Okay, so we have two cubes with mapped icons. Select both of them, go to Object and expand appearance. So Ctrl Shift Alt Q. Yes. Go to Object and expand appearance. Now ungroup them. Ctrl G, Command G to ungroup all of your group again. Ungroup until this option is not available. Then Select the Monero side and use your right mouse button key, release clipping mask. Then select the Monero itself. Change the color to 6B C7DD and change the blending mode using transparency, change it to luminosity. Next step is to do the same, absolutely the same to other symbols. So change the color to the 6B C7DD and set the blending mode to luminosity and clean up the shape. So delete all of this garbage on your layers panel, all of this clipping paths after you release the clipping mask, and some of these symbols should be also converted to the compound path. So Ctrl 8, Command 8 on your Mac to convert some of the symbols to the compound path. So head over to the Stratis icon, release the clipping mask, and then delete the clipping path, change the color to 6BC7DD, and add the luminosity blending mode. Ungroup these dice as well. Ungroup, 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 ungroup again. Select the icon, release compound path. I'll set the to luminosity and drop the colors from here again. Looks very good, and now we need to set a gradients to all of the surfaces of our cubes. So first thing first, let's grab the air picker, click I, and sample the color from our picker. You see, it looks very well, but so for now I'm gonna work both with gradient tool. So click G to grab the gradient tool, and with the gradient panel, navigate to your gradient panel, go to the Windows gradient if you can find it, and I'm gonna undock it actually so we can focus on it more clearly. So to the top right side of the second cube, I'm gonna introduce more purple here, like so. Select the second side and introduce more blue, reverse the gradient, like so, and select the third side. And for this, I'm gonna start here and grab the gradient tool. Grab the gradient tool and align this gradient like so. So this purple now appear at the bottom of our side. So play with these colors of your gradient. Make sure that they doesn't contradict with the actual light source, which is defined by the direction of our main gradient on the background. So once you have a general idea with my actual workflow with gradient tool and gradient panel, let me speed up a bit my tutorial and recolor the sides of second dice. So once you recolor the second cube, let's draw a marquee with the selection tool and group them, and group the first cube, then group the second cube. Let's change size down them a bit and position them properly. But before, of course, I need to enter the group and delete the guide. Select both and holding Alt and Shift, I'm gonna size down both cubes, probably like so. Then I'm gonna Ctrl Shift and left bracket to put my right dice to the bottom of the layer stack. This dice as well. It shouldn't cross the line. Well, okay, I still don't like the arrangement of these cubes, but let's us continue our work on the actual page, so we can then control the position of all elements. So next step is to create this wavy line that is here to denote the prosperity, growth, and financial services probably. I'm gonna grab the pen tool, simple pen tool, but we can also do this with this strange tool that calls curvature tool. But for now, I'm gonna grab this simple pen tool, create a new layer, call it curve. Place the first point at the bottom left of your canvas, then go toward the center of our call to action button and place the second point right on this flow line. Then go to the bottom and position the third point. Don't forget to hold left mouse button key and work with the direction handles to make your curve really smooth. So then position the last point, go towards the end of our canvas and place it right on this flow line. Head over to the bottom right corner and place the last point and then return to the initial point to close the path. Select the curve, give it a color and change the blending mode to luminosity. So with this curve selected, go and sample the color, click I to grab the eyedropper tool and sample the color from the logotype or from the lines, and then go to the luminosity again and bring up the luminosity here. I like the luminosity because it interacts with the gradient very nicely. So last but not least, delete the. I still don't like this area with my dice because it's the perceived size of this area should be almost equal this area with the dice. So let's size up the dice first of all, and then I need to push this cube to the bottom so they draw the same curve here. And again, their sides should point to the bottom. If you draw an imaginary line, it will cross the bottom. Now let's delete our grid and see what we have. Well, the curve is a bit rough, especially here, but I think you find the solution to this. And I also don't like this sign in button. Okay, let's bring up again the. We need to size down this button a bit. So select this button and holding Shift and Alt, delete, size it down to introduce a bit more space between the button and the module. And again, if we push it a bit to the top, it would look better. So this is the end of this tutorial. Again, let me know what software I should use to create the rest of our landing page. Leave your suggestion in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to go to tutorials.net for more Adobe Illustrator and graphic design tutorials. Have a great day.